The relevance of information and communication technology in all aspects of our lives cannot be overemphasized, especially in connecting economies of the world by aid of electronics via internet. According to World Economic Forum report Globalization 4.0, more organizations than ever are conducting business online. This is such that the economic market is now somewhat a free-for-all affair, predisposing users to criminals who take advantage to terrorize users of businesses. More so, the nefarious activities of these fraudsters makes undertaking of installation of cube systems and policing of the same much more expensive. Know that internet transactions have come to stay, though still presents huge risks. Thanks for joining us today on TVN Business Daily. I am Chiwendu Osisiago, and today we shall be discussing on the impact of cybercrime on the Nigerian economy and banking system. But before we go on with that discussion, let's look at the business stories making headlines. Bank loans to the different levels of government and the national economy have continued to grow steadily as the banking sector moves to put its non-performing loans under control. The total loans taken by the federal, state and local government from banks rose to 954.27 billion naira as of the end of March. The Central Bank of Nigeria disclosed it in its report entitled Quarterly Bulletin Commercial and Merchant Bank Accounts, which was obtained on Friday. According to the report, the federal government borrowed 93.56 billion naira, while the state and local governments borrowed 860.7 billion naira in the period under review. The lockdown and physical distancing measures that were implemented to curb the spread of COVID-19 in Nigeria almost led to a complete shutdown of economic activities across the country, the federal government said on Sunday. In our opening address in Abuja at the capacity building for special advisors and technical assistants of ministers, the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, also said Nigeria's economy would further suffer revenue decline in the third quarter of this year. She said the economy faced serious challenges in the first half of 2020, seeing about 65% decline in projected net 2020 government revenues from the oil and gas sector, with adverse consequences for revenue exchange inflows into the country. She said the survey had found that the annual household income was less than 137,000 naira, approximately 11,000 naira per month, for more than 40% of Nigerian households. The review of petrol price should not be solely managed by the Petroleum Product Pricing Regulatory Agency, or Market, said on Sunday. Since March 19, 2020, the PPPRA had been releasing guiding prices for premium motor spirit petrol after it declared that the downstream oil sector had been deregulated. However, oil marketers under the aegis of the Petroleum Products Retail Outlets Owners Association of Nigeria said on Sunday that the PPPRA should involve other stakeholders while modulating PMS price. The president, Perotan Pili Gillis Harry, said a stakeholders meeting involving leaders of the various oil and gas marketing association and government representatives should be constituted to determine the price changes. The total investment commitment by investors in Nigeria between January and June 2020 is 5.06 billion naira. The Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission has said. It, however, stated that this was 67% less than the value recorded in the first half of 2019, which was $15.15 billion. The Commission disclosed this in a report obtained in Abuja on Sunday and explained that the decline was consistent with the expected downward pressure on investment inflows given the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. The NIPC reported that showed that a total of 34 projects across 16 states and the Federal Capital Territory were announced by investors from Nigeria and 3 other countries. And that's the business update on Television Nigerian. I am Chiwendu Osisiago. Let's take a quick break. We'll be back shortly. My name is Chiwendu Osisiago, presenter Television Nigerian Business Daily. In a globalizing world, ours is to keep you engaged, informed and educated on contemporary happenings in the business world. We therefore command a special audience of business-minded viewers who are eager to know more about business, I mean your business. Why don't you take advantage of our special affordable offer to let the world know about your concepts, your goods, and of course, your services? You can call us on 080-3071-6959 or 070-3234-9054. You can also visit us at Television Nigerian in Guzapi, Abuja, and follow us on all our social media handles on Facebook, YouTube, and of course on Twitter at Television Nigerian. Your business is our concern. Thanks for staying with us, and if you're just joining us, it's still TV and Business Daily. Like I said earlier, we shall be discussing on the impact of cybercrime on the Nigerian economy and banking system. Of course, my guest is here in the studio to discuss on that. It is Mr. Samsudeen Abdul Razak. He's a public speaker and a freelance journalist. You're welcome to TV and Business.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, it's good to have you again.
Thank you.
And how was the weekend?
The weekend has actually been good. A lot of things has actually happened in the Nigerian space in the last, 48 hours from Friday till this moment.
And you hear like what?
Yes, we've had a situation whereby the federal government has actually come out and back and forth on the issue of resumption of schools and the issue of the 774,000 recruitment exercise, which has actually been a controversy between the National Assembly and the presidency. So a lot of things has actually happened. So we hope in the coming days there'll be a lot of things that will affect the lives of the Nigerian people, because that is what is very, very much important. So all the policies and programs should be something that will affect the lives of the Nigerian people. So that's what we look forward to.
I'll keep looking forward to that. Okay, moving forward. So let's go to our topic for today. So to what extent has this ICT influenced our lives, especially in the financial transactions?
Yes, when we look at ICT has actually come to deregulate the way our workspace is, because we have a situation whereby things are being done on a spot before. Maybe you have to come in a physical space, and now being done remotely. So, and that's actually given everybody the right to do whatever he wants at the confines of his home or at anywhere where he wishes. So we've seen in the era of the banking sector, whereby instead of you going to queue on very, very long queues, now you can actually sit at the confines of your home, perform banking transactions. Now, even the banking system now doesn't even require you, if you don't have anything tangible to come and do at the bank, you don't even need to come to bank, because you can actually do mobile transfer, you can do online banking transactions, and a host of others. So all in all, the banking sector has actually been affected well with the intervention of the ICT. But no, they say that for every research, there's always a limitation. Yes, so it has actually comes with its own ills. So we've had the skyrocketing of financial crimes through the cyberspace. We've had people doing what we call cyber stalking. We have what we call phishing, and a host of other things that comes within that period of you doing transactions within the cyberspace. You've had a situation whereby people will just call you and say, okay, fine, we are calling from your bank, and we needed your BVN to actually carry out some transactions, and a host of others. And a lot of Nigerians have actually fall into that. So in as much as these people are not relenting, but a lot of Nigerians that are still falling prey to some of these activities, which is so unfortunate, because it's an organized crime. It has actually moved from a one-person thing to an organization thing to an organized crime. Because if you want to track one issue of fraud that happened in the banking sector, you will actually look at it. It was organized from possibly those tellers on the counter, to maybe one of the MD in the bank, to maybe a political office holder or somebody who is of having a business elsewhere. So it has actually moved from somebody to say, okay, I just want to dupe this person, and he gets away with it scot-free. So it has actually become so holistic in such a way that it's very hard for you to actually track. Because if you start tracking financial crimes, you will get to know that thousands of people are actually connected to one single crime.
So sometimes I wonder how they actually get people's number, calling you and telling you that, okay, you're using this bank, and sometimes it's always true. They'll call you, you're using this kind of bank, and, they'll tell you to send your details. And it's rampant. What can you say about that?
The issue is that's why you have to be very, very, very careful. There's what we call phishing, where they will actually, or the spam messaging, whereby they will just get they will clone a particular website that will actually look exactly like the website of maybe a professional body or a government organization. Then, if you notice very well, it might be just an hyphen. That is just the differences between that particular website and the other. So, and if somebody is gullible enough not to actually check that, he might also, okay, fine, and they will require your banking details, or you require you to fill some forms. The moment you send out forms, you're actually helping them to boost their database. Wow. And like I said, it's an organized crime. Some of them get some of this data from even the banking sector, or some of these government agencies that are into data collection. So they have access to it, and moreover, criminals are everywhere. They are within the family, they are within friends, and everywhere. So if somebody who has a criminal tendency stumble upon these particular details, like data of people, he can actually use it. And some will actually say, okay, fine, I have this, I'll sell it to you. So it's more of like data is one of the most expensive commodity now. People are actually in need of data of people, and in such way, the moment you have those data of people, then you can actually get across to them and tell them. So it's just like somebody maybe doing soothsaying about you. Somebody say, okay, this is your name, this is where you live, this is your banking account, and you just continue to nod your head that yes.
You want to believe the
person. Then the next thing they ask you is, okay, fine, you bank with so bank, and you do this. Then before you know, you're like, okay, fine. There have been some times whereby some people will tell you that they hypnotize people. But the reality is that majority of them don't normally hypnotize. What they do is they do what we call the reverse psychology. So they make you so comfortable, and they will create that chat as if they knew you before and all that. And they will say, okay, fine, we needed to help you solve some issues within your banking, in your bank. And the next thing is you start going to bring up your ATM card, and you start reeling out your numbers to them and the 3 digits at the back. And before you know, they are good to go.
But how can one detect the one that is real and the one that is fake?
Now, over the time, the government has actually come, like via the different banks, and even the CBN has actually come out to tell you that they won't come to tell you that you should submit any of your banking details. They won't call you. So they've actually been doing that sensitization. But the fact is that a lot of people are still not having access to such. And some people, when they push some idea to you, and somebody that has maybe he wants to tell you, okay, if you do this, you're going to get more money, and yes. So that greedy nature of you is, okay, you want to make more money. So you would like to give all your banking and this thing. So it is when they said, when the shocker gets shocked, you want to shock people because you've not invested. It's okay, invest 10,000 naira now in 2 hours, you get maybe 200,000. So where are they getting the money from? So you feel that, so they knew that people are actually having that kind of thinking. So that's the more reason why they also go. And they always have statistics of, okay, fine, they have maybe 1 out of 10 person, one will actually get. Yeah. So they are also very, very calm. So once they get the numbers, they call Mr. A, call Mr. B. They believe that if they call 10 persons, one person will actually fall prey to that. And that's the more reason why the crime still continues. In as much as there's been sensitization from the part of the commercial banks and even the CBN, the activity still continues.
And they know that Nigerians will definitely fall.
Yes, they know that Nigerians
when it comes to money.
Yes, everybody is actually, the way they've actually worked on our psyche is they've made, you have friends who actually seems to have a better life, and they post on social media. So the idea of, okay, I just want to create that impression that I'm living big. So you also want to go to any length to also make it big. So at homes, maybe during festive periods, people travel back home and all that. The family celebrates people that are rich. So nobody wants to feel like a failure. Within the social space, within your friends, you will not be reckoned with if you don't have maybe money to give. So all those things contribute to the fact that everybody, when they now pitch an idea to somebody, which is criminal related, he's willing and ever to actually grab that idea.
But looking at MMM, you remember MMM? You know, when it came, everybody was looking so real, everybody, you know, lost money to MMM.
So when you look at those Ponzi scheme, it's like a pyramid. So it will get to a time whereby it's get to the peak. Once it gets to the peak and you have many downliners, the system will surely crash. So when it starts, you collect maybe somebody registered today, so you collected this money, and you pay people that are actually at the top. So you get another person's money, you pay the people that are at the top. So like that. So when you get to a time whereby it has actually got to the top of the pyramid, and many people are on ground and they needed money, so you don't have more money to give them, because you also have, as you are moving up, your percentage is also increasing. So definitely, if those are the base now, if they also cry to say, we need our own money, and the way the system works is within 24 hours you get your money. You
really have other people.
Yes. So in that sense, when you do that, people get to see that okay, fine, this thing is not sustainable. And over time, that's the issue we have with some multi-level marketing businesses also. So, and a lot of time people actually come to tell you that, okay, there's a difference between a Ponzi scheme and a multi-level marketing system. But then it all uses the pyramid system of, money making. So you just have many people under your downline and the upliners. So at the moment the people continue to increase, so also the expectation continues from the downliners. So the people that are at the top, they make money from those that are under. Okay. So, and if you continue to work harder to say, okay, fine, you want to get more money, then definitely it's like what's it called? It's a fixed something. It will get to a point in time where it will get to its elastic limit, and the moment it gets to its elastic limit, it actually end. So that's more reason why you see that some business will start, then after like 2-3 months they will say that it has crashed. Then and that those people again will come up with another method, same thing, and over time it crashed. So, and Nigerians continue to fall gullible to this because those people continue to regroup and actually, because they continue to regroup and at the same time come to deceive the people. And Nigerians is like, somebody that is maybe he was one duped. After 2-3 months, they were like, okay, fine, somebody comes to do some reverse engineering. This one is not like the other one. No, this one is a fresh one. Look, my daddy is into it. My father is into it. They will give you testimonies. So you feel that, okay, fine, this thing is real. Let me also join. And in the process, what happens? You also fall gullible into it. Sometimes it might take years. Yes, there are some organized crimes that takes more than 2, 3, 4 years. So it's not like maybe there are times whereby it might just be 3 months. There are some that might be 6 months, after which the system will crash. There are some times whereby it might be years, but then it is not actually legal. So we've had, aside the Ponzi scheme, we've had the romance fraud, where people will actually get to do cyber stalking. Okay. Once they stalk people on on social media, get their details, and they will now use it to threaten them. And so, okay, fine. Or there are some instances whereby they will also stalk you, and once they stalk you, they will hack your website, or they'll hack your social media account, and they will clone it to be another person, and they will use that account to be defrauding somebody else. Real. Yes, it will look so real. And mostly now in Nigeria, what they do is once they hack your maybe social media account, they change it to be maybe a white person. The moment they change it to be a white person, now it's that account that they will use to now start doing possibly romance fraud, where they will tell maybe a white woman elsewhere that they are interested in her, and all that.
It's so rampant now. I know of 10 people that they've actually asked their account just last month.
Yes, it is becoming the moment, the way, because from year 2011 we had very low internet penetration. Now the internet penetration has actually grown wider. People are having access to smartphones. A lot of people are actually having access to the social medias. More social medias accounts are open, and the moment they are also opening, same thing with those crimes, it's also expanding. So mostly what organizations needed to focus more on is investment in cybersecurity, especially at this time. Because even we, as maybe just normal layman on the streets, you needed more knowledge on cybersecurity than ever. Because how do you actually maintain your privacy settings to make sure that, okay, who comes to see your Facebook account, who comes to see your Twitter accounts and all that? Because it's not everybody that sends you a friend request that is actually real. So everybody, some people actually have an ulterior motive. So once they come, they follow you for a while, like 6 months. And after a while, somebody will just DM you. We have a social investment plan that you can actually invest in and all that. Some even in WhatsApp now, it is even rampant, whereby they will just come, they will hack the WhatsApp, change the number. Once they change the number, then they will now push their idea. But on those WhatsApp groups, they are still on what's it called? It's still your name that's still bearing on also. So any crime that has been committed and anybody is being defrauded, the person who is using that particular WhatsApp account is the person that's going to be caught, because they've actually hacked the account. So some people, they'll just come join a particular group, get the data. That's another place where they get database of people, is through WhatsApp. They will join a particular group, if you go to the WhatsApp group, you have access to people's phone numbers and everything. So in that process, you get, some people have their headlines, this is what they do. So they get to know, okay, you do this, you do, and do this. Before you know, they start stalking you and they get what they want from you.
Okay, you mentioned some steps that the organization must do. What other steps do you think the organization do to forestall these victims? Yes,
how organizations can actually forestall that, like I said earlier, is through cybersecurity, investing in cybersecurity. Yes, for the government, through NITDA, we have what we call the SAT, that is the Computer Emergency Response Team.
Okay.
So it is the government cybersecurity arm, and what they do is to check because NITDA is in charge of all the government websites, that is the .gov.ng. So NITDA is in charge of that. So once the domain name is being generated by Galaxy Backbone, which is also a government organization. So the moment they get that, and they keep track of what is happening on each government website, because those guys are ready to hack any government account. For example, when there are recruitment exercises,
even this Empower,
yes, they will just clone the same kind of website, and if you don't know, you might just fall prey. So you just submit your banking details, submit everything, especially your BVN, and you thought you've actually submitted the normal Empower registration program, not knowing that you've actually submitted to a parody account, and before you know, you do that. So what governments do is they have SAT, which is the Computer Emergency Response Unit. So that SAT is for the whole of the federation, which is being controlled by NITDA. Then CBN also has its own SAT.
Okay.
So they also manage, because they also deals with financial transactions and also manage accounts of people. So they have their own SAT also. Then organizations generally that in the cyberspace, they needed to invest more on cybersecurity. You needed to get a cybersecurity expert for possibly as much as your social media accounts and even your website, because at every point in time, people can actually come in. So the search for cybersecurity experts are even more in demand now compared to ever. So, and aside that, now as individuals and as corporate bodies, there is need for sensitization. Because there is one thing for you to deploy a particular software or a particular equipment, or for example, let's say CCTV, you have it. There's another thing on how to actually enlighten people. This is how it works. This is how you can actually protect yourself. So for your own personal account and for the account, maybe for your organization or for the government agency, ministries and department. So it's that's how you actually go through those processes. Number one, getting a cybersecurity expert to help you manage your account. Number two, you yourself, you needed to be up to date. You needed to get some cybersecurity tips. How can you stay, safe? Especially when there's what we call digital literacy. You needed to be digitally literate to know how things works in the cyberspace. What kind of person can you accept as a friend? What kind of business transaction can you go in? How secure are those business transactions? And the fact is that to the best of their ability, government agencies, especially NITDA, CBN, and a host of others have actually been able to, over time, sensitize people and tell them this is how you can actually protect yourself on the cyberspace so that you won't fall prey. And there are also non-governmental organizations that are also into sensitization of people to tell them, okay, you have to be very, very, very safe online. Because they will say, okay, the best way is they will say before you click any link, you stop, think before you connect. You stop first. You think about it. Can I actually go in? Then you what? Before you connect. So you can decide not to connect or you can connect. So by so doing, you can actually stay safe on the cyberspace.
All right, thank you so much. All right, let's take a quick break. Then after the break, we'll continue with the discussion. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us, and if you're just joining us, it's TV and Business Daily. Like I said earlier, we've been discussing on the impact of cybercrime on the Nigerian economy and banking system. My guest is here in the studio, is a public speaker and a freelance journalist, Mr. Samsudeen Abdulrazak. This time around I pronounced it very well.
Yes, yes.
Okay, before we conclude, are there enough enabling laws to prosecute perpetrators?
Yes, we have what we call the Cybercrime Act of 2015. So that Act of National Assembly has been signed into law, and it has actually spelled out a lot of things that you ordinarily would not think that it's it's a crime. It spelled it out. There's we have the aspect of spamming. Maybe somebody doesn't seek your consent and he sent you unsolicited text message. You have unsolicited emails. So these ones are crimes. We have what we call the child pornography. So it's also a crime. We have cyber stalking, we have phishing, we have cyber terrorism, we have a host of crimes that are being spelled out in the the Cybercrime Act of 2015, and it has actually been there. And there are some that actually takes you to, maybe some will be with fine, while some which is maybe 3-year sentence, 4-year sentence, and all that. So we have an enabling laws. So, but then there is one thing for people to know the law. There's one thing for the law to exist. There's another thing for people to know the law, and there's another thing again for people to be willing to speak out. For example, if for people that are being defrauded, maybe for example for POS, you go for a POS transaction as a POS owner, somebody said he sent you money. There are ways whereby they can actually design it in such a way that you think you have actually received a bank alert, but then it is not a bank alert. So in such a scenario, you've actually given out the money, you give out goods to some people, and at the end of the day, nothing comes to you. So if you have the bank account of that person, you can, through the what we call the Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria, you can email them. The email is available. You can actually email them and tell them, okay, this is what has actually transpired, and over time, and from there they will be able to contact the bank of which the perpetrator of the act is working, and they will block his account. And after a while, you yourself, you can actually now move to actually arrest that person. So we have enabling laws, but number one, people don't know about it. And when people know about it, they are actually shy to come say something, because nobody wants to be seen as a victim. Because there's this stereotype of, okay, fine, guy, you be mumu. How person will dupe you like this? And maybe somebody was, okay, I'm a Lagos boy, person know if you dupe me. And when it happens and he falls prey, he's always shy to come and say, okay, fine, yes, you just let it go. And you letting it go makes it easy for those people that are perpetrating that crime to continue.
But these laws, are they effective?
Yes, they are effective because the EFCC are those people. We have the EFCC, we have the ICPC. These are people that prosecute financial offenders. So they are effective.
Okay, so what's your final take?
So my final take for Nigerians generally is for us as a people to be very, very conscious. And I will just like make it simple. Anything if you don't have business to do on the cyberspace, like either as maybe social media or anything, you might just need to take a break. Then if you have a business to do, you have to be very, very intelligent in doing so. And for you to, before you click any link or before you do anything, there's one thing, let me quickly chip it in. There are some websites, if it doesn't has S, like if you have HTTP and it doesn't has S, there's HTTPS, it means that that site is not secured. So you might not need to maybe download or go further through that site. Some will even create an what's it called, maybe an awareness to you that, okay, this site is not secured. So before you go forth, you might just need to stop, think before you connect. By so doing, you are staying safe on the cyberspace.
And they need to be cautious about doing anything transaction. And if they don't have an idea, they should ask people.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that one is very, very important too. Thank you so much, Mr. Samsudeen Abdulrazak, for coming on TV in Business today.
Thank you very much for having me.
It's good to have you.
Yes.
And that's the much we have for you today on TV in Business Daily. I am Chiwendu Osisiego. And don't forget that you can follow us on all our social media platforms, on Facebook, on YouTube, and of course on Twitter at Television Nigerian. Do have a wonderful day. Bye for now.